What's good, everybody? Welcome to August 16th, Friday, and it's Frandrea Friday, which means I'm Fran, and this is Andrea Rene. How's it going, Andrea?
Oh, Fran, it's Friday. I'm feeling great.
Friday, as you put it in our text chat.
That's right.
Everybody says Friday now. It's just the thing. And all I can ever think of is Froyo. I don't know why, but anyway, we are capping off the week, just so you know, with a little bit of Xbox Scarlett hype news, a little more details that came out of E3 in a GameSpot interview. Anthem's lead producer is taking off, going somewhere else. We got some other good stuff like NPD numbers, but more on the news in a second. Of course, if you don't know, this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. I haven't been on the show in a while, so we'll see how I do with this. But this is Kind of Funny Games Daily.
Just throwing Fran into the fire. I was like, I've hosted enough this week. It's Fran's turn.
I love doing it. So it's funny. I just jinxed myself, everyone. Anyway, you know it's Kind of Funny Games Daily at 10 a.m. live every day of the week. You can find us here on Twitch TV/Kind of Funny Games. Many of you don't watch live, though, and that's quite all right. You can also find us on YouTube.com/Kind of Funny Games. So pretty easy to find those in both places.
Or on podcast services around the globe.
Or even on roosterteeth.com. There you go.
Exactly.
It's true.
You can also be a part of the show, and we would really encourage you to do that. We always love to have you be a part of it. You can head over to patreon.com/Kind of Funny Games. Bronze members and above get to write in, and silver members or above get the show ad-free. All right, a little bit of housekeeping this week. If you don't know already, Tim and Greg and Andy are up at the Canadian National Exhibition in Toronto right now. And so that's all weekend, Friday through Sunday. You can head over to kindoffunny.com/events for more info. But I understand there's a couple panels today, a couple tomorrow. Barrett, what's the rough story there?
I don't know. They're hosting some panels. They're going to have
fun.
So
one Greg Miller at Game Over Greggy on Twitter tweeted this morning, exactly 39 minutes ago. Well, he's verified, so take that with a grain of salt. Okay. He says, let's get it, Toronto, today at the Let's Go to the EX and see me chop it up with Cappy Nathan. Of course, he's talking about Nathan Vella from Cappy Games, about making video games at 2 p.m. Tim Geddes and Maximum Cortez and Greg will embarrass themselves in a party mode live at 4 p.m. And he's going to shove various fried foods into his mouth at various times, which I'm sure you'll be able to see on his Instagram.
Just another Friday,
stories.
anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then either tomorrow or Sunday, they're doing a panel of the top 10 video games from Canada, which I think will be fun.
Top 10 video games developed in Canada?
Just make sure you're following Greg. He'll tweet it all.
I like that. Mass Effect.
You can get more info at kindoffunny.com/events.
All right. So, head over there for more information. I don't know if any of that stuff is streaming live anywhere, but, poke around and let us know.
I don't believe so.
Yeah. Otherwise, you got to be in Toronto and go say hello for us. Thank you so much to our Patreon producers, Blackjack and Muhammad. Thank you so much for supporting us. And today, also our supporters were brought to you by Quip and Experian, but I'll tell you a little more about that later. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. It's time for some news. Thank you, Chris Roper. We have 4 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
You like 4 stories?
Yeah.
I forgot to put the number in, but it is. I think it's 4.
Let me count really quick. 1.
Oh, here we go. The cleric's at work.
3, 4. There's 4.
A baker's dozen.
Thanks, Barrett.
I thought of the counting Tootsie Roll Pop Owl. A 1, a 2.
Oh, dude, I loved Tootsie Pops when I was a
3.
kid.
Anyway.
But I only actually liked the Tootsie flavored one.
I think that commercial was from the 70s, but they would replay it, as I was a child. And it was it was a very old commercial, meaning I'm not that old. When it was,
You're not that old.
But close. All right, let's start with the first big story. Xbox, Phil Harrison himself, the Xbox lead, is saying next-gen Scarlett will focus on more than just being pretty. It's about frame rates. It's about load times. GameSpot has a series of interview breakouts that they did. That was a bunch of stuff that they got out of E3. So really encourage you, head over there. It's some required reading in general, but we're going to go through the big stuff as it pertains to Scarlett, a little bit of xCloud. So let's start off the top here. Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, told GameSpot in an exclusive, in-depth interview following E3, making sure that games will run smoothly and load quickly will be a major focal point in the next gen. So here's what Phil Spencer said. I think the area that we really want to focus on next generation is frame rate and playability of the games. Ensuring that the games load incredibly fast, ensuring that the game is running at the highest frame rate possible. We're also the Windows company, so we see the work that goes on for PC and the work that developers are doing. People love 60 frames per second games. So getting games to run at 4K, 60 frames per second, I think will be a real design goal for us. Let's pause on that quote for a second. Any surprises? How do you feel about this? I mean, there is a lot of commentary on it being a focus, and I think it's been a big question of mine personally. Are they going to try to push developers to get to 60 or enforce it?
No, of course not. They won't. It's always going to be up to the developer because not every game needs to be 4K 60 frames per second.
Okay, I agree with that.
And I think there's some games that would it would be to their detriment if they were forced into this situation where they have to perform at a specific frame rate. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, look at the Nintendo Switch and how successful they are. We're going to talk about it in the NPD numbers in just a little bit. Like, they don't do 4K 60 frames per second, and they have millions of fans around the world.
Can't even do TurboTax. Still a problem.
It's true. I think setting it as a goal to encourage developers to reach for those benchmarks is absolutely the right thing to do. If you're going to be making new hardware, it's got to be better than the hardware you currently have. And Xbox One X is already doing 4K 60 frames per second with specific games.
Yeah, I mean,
so I think that's fine. Cool. Good.
Yep. Yeah, I paused on the topic because I'm personally passionate about it, as many of you know, as much as I get labeled a PC guy. It's funny because I've been an all console guy in general as time has passed, but Nintendo, very long time, but I've always had a PC in the background. And even when I was like covering Nintendo 64, the frame rate was always focused. There was a lot of games that ran 20 to 30, but the ones that hit 30 were like, oh, thank goodness. And it does make a difference, so I'm passionate. But what I would say is, one, I agree with what you said, as much as I look at a game like God of War, and I personally would make it, if I was in charge, I'd say it's a mandate. You need to support 60 frames a second as an option. I know you want to give this other cinematic option, but as an action game, I'm the head of the studio, I'm requiring it. I would love to see stuff like that, but I also understand that if Corey and team are like, no, artistically, we just totally disagree with you, and we're not going to do that, and it would create some rifts there. There is a preference, so I understand that. But I do think there's a lot of games that strive for too much technology, for lack of a better way to put it, especially when you get new next-gen stuff. You just start piling on. It's new hardware, and you're getting used to stuff. And the next thing you know, it doesn't run at 60. It runs at 40, and so you just lock it at 30. And I would hate to see too many games doing that when they should be pushing the other direction. So that's how I feel about that. Thanks. Rant over. So the other part of the quote that he said here was a little more about the resolution, right? I'm just talking 1080p 60. 4K, not even that. I would love to see it. But anyway, continuing with the news part here. Phil said, the thing that's interesting is this generation, we've really focused on 4K visuals and how we bring both movies through 4K Blu-ray and video streaming. And with Xbox One X allowing games to run at 4K visuals will make really strong visual enhancements next generation. But playability is probably the bigger focus for us this generation. How fast do games load? Do I feel like I can get into the game as fast as possible while it's playing? How does it feel? Does this game look and feel like no other game that I've seen? That's our target. So it was both in terms of the load times and just really high fidelity. And we know that PlayStation was the first out of the woodwork that said, no, we're going to blow your mind with our SSD drives in solid state drives in PlayStation 5, and we know Xbox has seemingly the same focus. So that's not really news, but it's nice to hear again, right? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you didn't.
This is like been a cool story, bro article.
It's like a paragraph based on some info we already had.
This to me is like the minimum that they should be shooting for, right? Like they came out the gate, Xbox did, with that video saying this is what we're working on for the next generation. It's going to be super powerful and super fast, and we're working with super cool devs, and Xbox is going to be awesome. And I'm like, yes, that sounds great. Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just a little more flavor text, but as little information we have on Scarlett and Next Gen, I'll take all of it. And, I would add one more phrase to your repertoire, Phil. What's the smell? If you watch Gamescast, you'll know what I'm referring to. So what's the smell of the game? Very important, perhaps more important than anything else out there. I'll have to go back and find out what episodes I've said that in, but it was Red Dead was one of them. I'll have to go find it, but it's kind of caught on. All right, backwards compatibility and cross-gen play is also a topic that was brought up. So Xbox wants to ensure that players still have access to all of their older games as they move into a new generation of consoles. So here's what Phil said. We really like the reception we really like the reception and the use that we've seen through the Xbox One backwards compatibility program. Making sure that all 4 generations of content, so the original Xbox games that run on your Xbox One today, the OG Xbox, the 360 games that run on your Xbox One, your Xbox One games, and the new generation games, all run on the next platform. That is important to us. We want to respect the games that you've bought from us. We want to make sure that the generations can play with each other. So if you happen to adopt the next generation early and somebody stays back, that if their games are on both platforms, you'll be able to cross-gen play,
Now that deserves a round of applause.
All right, Andrea's finally impressed
everybody.
Round
of applause. Yeah, so Xbox made that a focus with the Xbox One this generation, as you just read, and I'm excited to hear that they are going to stay focused on that commitment into the next generation and saying, you know what, we've already done all this legwork to make these games backwards compatible. Let's just keep it going.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real commitment to the consumer to say, hey, we respect the value of the dollar that you earn, and we want to make sure that the game that you bought here, we can play over here. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't feel left behind. You don't feel forced into the new ecosystem. We know they got xCloud coming. We'll talk in that in a second. But this is definitely where game makers like Sony and Xbox are taking the generation of gaming. But I feel like the industry as a whole is kind of heading there. Meaning, I don't know with Nintendo that we're moving quickly in that direction. But Sony and Microsoft seem very focused on the idea of, and even Stadia, right? Play anywhere, be on whatever device, cross-gen play probably in some respects there too. Like let's say maybe someday Stadia supports older PC play, and who knows. But I think the good example here that's been on my mind, and it was really good to read this, is I've been playing a lot of Sea of Thieves lately, and I was like, man, this game is gorgeous, and I really just think they're working on a port, but an upgrade, and who knows, maybe a full-on sequel, Sea of Thieves 2, but I'm like, I can't wait. I think this is going to really shine on the next Xbox Scarlett. So you look at that scenario, and now that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, well, wait, maybe they continue to have the content they have and they port it over. And that's such an amazing use case. Could you imagine playing that on your phone on the next Xbox Scarlett? Plus, you just still have your PC version, or I have my PC version. You have Xbox. That's a really cool world to play in. It would be so inclusive. But are you?
Absolutely. And I think with this new era of live service games really dominating the landscape, it's something that developers should be thinking about and the platform holders should hopefully be supporting. So it's interesting to see that, Phil went out ahead and was just like, we're going to try to make cross-gen play work, because we really haven't had that before.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something out there that we're missing. But in general, just saying it is it's not something you hear boldly offered up, because there's a lot at work there. But I think that's the ecosystem they're wanting to create. Barrett and Andrea, anything off the top of your heads on Xbox that you'd love to see cross-gen? Sea of Thieves was my pick as the example. Anything that comes out, like old Halos probably is a good Master Chief Collection.
Well, I mean, that wouldn't, for me, I never really got into PvP in Halo, so I wouldn't need that to be cross-gen play.
But is there anything, because we're... Right, our eyes light up. Ooh, cross-gen. But then, well, what's the real examples?
Yeah,
I would think if we made a list, and we should, there should be 10 of them. If you were playing
co-op, right? If you think of it from a co-op perspective, if you were playing the Halo campaign, and I was playing on Xbox One, and you were playing on Scarlett, if we could play co-op together, if that's truly what they mean, that's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, that is what they mean. Anything that pops out for you, Barrett?
No, not really. I think that Halo is probably the best example of not even just co-op, but also PvP as well. Of just that alone would be fucking crazy.
I got a softball one for you. Just port Destiny over, get it running at those 60 frames, 4K on Scarlett, but then allow some cross-gen play. Although in games like Destiny, it brings up where you run into trouble with stuff like this. PvP, you mentioned, Andrea. If somebody's playing PvP at 60 frames a second and you're only playing at, say, 30, it brings up some challenges that they're really going to have to address in
with crossplay with PC at large, right? That happens with console players and PC players now when it comes to competitive crossplay. And that's why they allow console players to opt out of cross-playing with PC.
Yeah, because Sea of Thieves offers it.
And I just think... Back looking at the Division 2 raid when that launched and watching those raid streams and just how much better they were able to control
aim.
Versus what we were doing on console, and it's there's clearly no comparison there, and so I'm never going to be a fan of PC cross-playing for PvP elements. I think for PvE elements, it's totally fine.
Yeah, you get into the mouse and keyboard aspect on top of the hertz and all that. But anyway, the point is they're going to have to contend with that. But the general concept, I think, we're all pretty excited about. Let's move on. They also talked a little bit about the controller, the importance of controller compatibility. Phil said, another thing that will be a little bit new for us is the fact that we want to also respect the compatibility of the controllers that you already have. This generation, we came out with the Elite controller. We've done work on the controllers, and people have invested in personalized controllers, the things that they love, and we want to make those compatible with the future generations of our console as well. So really, the things that you've bought from us, whether the games or the controllers that you're using, we want to make sure those are future compatible with the highest fidelity version of our console, which at the time will obviously be the one we've just launched. So referring to Scarlett.
They did such a fantastic job with the design labs for the Xbox One controllers this gen. I have a couple custom controllers at home. And then, I have my purple one. This is what's good on it. And I am really glad to hear that those controllers aren't just going to become like an item I put on my shelf to collect dust. I can actually use that in the next generation. This is something we talked about yesterday when Barrett and I were doing the show, and they unveiled those new DualShock 4 colors.
Yeah.
And, somebody on Twitter had asked, does it even make sense to buy a new DualShock 4 right now, knowing that PS5 is likely coming next year and you're not going to get that much use out of it? I was like, that's a good question. It's all about your personal budget and if you want to spend money on an additional controller or not. And so that's a question you have to decide for yourself, especially since Sony has not announced if DualShock 4 will be compatible. I think it's fair to assume it won't be because it hasn't been before. And I think what Xbox is doing, as Phil says here, is something they haven't done before, but that they want to, again, let their consumers know that they're valuing their commitment to the brand and they want to bring it forward.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a chance with Xbox clearly outlining it this early that, Sony, if they weren't planning on it, since they don't usually do it, maybe they will. And the reason I also say that is in both cases, we've seen iterations of the controllers. Obviously, the touch, part of the pad on the PlayStation 4 controller was a big upgrade, I guess. But I wonder how much farther they're really going to take it. So without speculating, but meaning for Xbox, I think we can expect, we see the newer Elite controller. We see it's going to be pretty similar. And we even see what Stadia did with their controller. It's pretty much a PlayStation and Xbox controller. It's got a couple buttons on it that are just for Stadia. But it's pretty much the same thing. So I don't know how much farther we're really going with that stuff. Project Scarlett, which is the next Xbox, which doesn't have an official name, comes out holiday 2020, and Halo Infinite is launch title. Remember, we're talking serious now. It's actually a year away unless they delay it on us. I don't expect that given how much work and discussion they've put around it. So a little different than Scarlett, there's also part of the interview series. Again, check it out at GameSpot. There's a lot of info, a lot of good work over there. But there's some discussion on the xCloud side of things. So Phil leveled on the xCloud saying, last year we talked about xCloud, and then we said we were working on new game consoles. But that's all I said. We didn't say that a streaming console is in the works. I think maybe some people thought that this was the diskless one that we just shipped. We are not working on a streaming-only console right now. We are looking at the phone in your pocket as the destination for you to stream, and the console that we have allows you to play the games locally. Let's just pause on that one for a second. So yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about multiple models of the Scarlett, diskless, maybe streaming only, or just in general. Any new thoughts on this? I think, was Greg excited about maybe a streaming only box or something like that?
Yeah,
I thought he was.
Greg has been touting his fandom for a digital only future for a long time now. And we, of course, on this show love to speculate. It's part of what we do on Kind of Funny. And I think that it, based off all the rumors that we were hearing, it was something that was not that big of a leap to think that with xCloud and what Microsoft is doing, that maybe they're going to offer something similar to what Stadia has. But now Phil is clearly saying, no, that's not going to be the case. However, it feels like this, the Xbox One Slim, the diskless one that they have, is almost like that, right?
Yeah, and that's it. I think there's a small detail in here in what he's saying, right? You pinpointed it, which is something like Google is doing. That's not a high storage device that has a bunch of inputs and outputs.
You're not downloading your games onto Stadia.
Yeah, it's a streaming only puck, as they call them sometimes, your Apple TV puck, your Chromecast, whatever you set next to your TV. I still think there's a chance that Scarlett will support a diskless, digital only. So that would be a little different. But if you were thinking maybe they'll have this puck, right now it doesn't look like they're doing that. That frankly would be a lot to be coming out the door at once. And I know there's been discussions too of like, well, if xCloud works so well, why can't the new Xbox One S just be the xCloud streaming device for that if you want? I mean, obviously it's not as cheap.
Well, it seems like you will be able to stream from this device, but also if you want to download your game because maybe you're going on vacation and you are bringing your console with and you're not going to have access to high-speed internet where you're going, so you want to download your progress instead, then that seems like something you'll be able to do with the Scarlett, which I think is a nice hybrid machine. And I think what Phil's really saying here is that they're not trying to make Stadia, they're trying to make an additional destination because they know that you carry your smartphone with you wherever you go. And so they want to capture some of that time away from other apps and other things you're doing on your phone and bring it back into the Xbox ecosystem. And the easiest way for them to do that is just to optimize a streaming service for your mobile device, whether it be an iPad or an Android phone or what have you.
Perfect segue. Phil says of focusing on the phone. Going back to our transparency, there's a truth that I think is always important for us to talk about with our customers. In xCloud, we are building a convenience capability to allow you to take your Xbox experience with you, meaning that's why we focus on the phone, and the experience is not the same as running the games on an Xbox One X. I'm not going to say that it's an 8K, 120 hertz thing. That's not what we're doing. We're going to bring the convenience and choice to you on your phone. You can jump into a party, we can voice chat. Everything works the same as it does when I'm sitting with my console with a community and content perspective, but you're running it from a cloud, which is going to feel different. Now, there was taken as an excerpt later in the interview. There was also some context around there's going to be a little lag there. He said, nobody should tell you there's no lag, when they talk about this stuff. So there's some challenges to get over. But I think the interesting part and why I pulled it was that the phone is clearly the big focus point, like you just said, Andrea. And I think we're all thinking about the puck, the streaming, and what Stadia is doing, which absolutely is relevant. But xCloud is very much focused on the phone. And I can say, having gone to E3, I went to a Stadia demo, TV, 35-inch, 40-inch, whatever it was, with the laptop hooked up. That was my Stadia experience. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to go check this out side by side over at Microsoft. And I'm like, got into the Microsoft Theater, and then they pushed me around to the back over by Hale. I'm like, cool, big TV. And they're like, oh, phones. And I just got to play it on a tiny little phone. And I was like, oh. And at first, actually, I was a little bummed because, I'm not using this experience yet. But it's clearly the focus.
I got to play Gears on xCloud.
Yeah.
And it was, it was what you would expect. It's just shrunk down. I personally I'm not into that. I don't want to play a game like that I want to play on a TV on my phone.
Yeah.
I love that there are mobile games designed for this screen, designed for a touch interface. I don't need a contraption to hold my phone with the controller. I think that works in a very select amount of cases for specific games. But I already have trouble playing my Switch in the size of that screen.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because I'm getting older and my eyesight's going. But I prefer my giant television. That's how I like to play. That's why I'm a console player. I sit on my couch. I have my 65-inch TV. I've got my controller, and I'm just chilling. That's my preferred gaming setup. And I will play stuff on my phone, like Lego Tower, for example, because it's designed for a phone screen.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that there are other people who are not me that are looking for that experience. But I think so many of the games that you're playing on an Xbox aren't designed for a phone screen. They're designed for a television screen, and they're designed for a controller input. They're not designed, for these other things. And the idea that you have to bring a kickstand for your phone or get a special thing to hold, your phone while you're holding your Bluetooth controller, it's just a lot of accoutrement that I don't necessarily see myself using. When it comes to something like Stadia and playing on the road, I really only see myself doing that with a tablet, and that's it.
Yeah, a big enough screen. No, and you bring up the important point, which is it's kind of what you want to do. I think they're demoing games that prove we can do it, right? We can do Halo, we can do Gears, we can do a first-person shooter, because those technically are some of the games that are the most demanding, both in controls and precision and visuals and everything. But there's games that actually might work really well. Or there's use cases within games where you're like, you know what? I will do that on my phone. And I would ask you that if we know Phil plays Destiny on the road. You're a huge Destiny player, Andrea. Would you play Destiny on your phone occasionally? Could you see a use case to pop in if you're on the road?
Yeah, I used remote play all the time for trips to see Zur.
Yeah, so to get some gear. Back
when he was only available for like that short window of time.
I
mean, he hangs around a lot longer now, but I mean,
it was like inventory needs versus.
Yeah, exactly. So like that would be something that I would do when I was using remote play. Obviously, the tech for xCloud far surpasses what they're doing with remote play for a variety of reasons. And I absolutely am looking forward to playing Destiny on the road, but on my phone specifically, probably not.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But I think there's going to be some use cases, but more importantly, I think, there's going to be some types of games that you're like, oh, this is awesome on the phone. I'll just take that with me. Like, actually, maybe I was playing Rebel Galaxy Outlaws I talked about on Gamescast with y'all, and thinking about it, although it is a shooter, it's not like crazy demanding off the top of my head in terms of like all the, other than aiming and shooting and going and getting inventory and stuff. So like actually games like that could be exciting to be like, oh, it's going to occur to us now on the road and have the ability to hop on a Stadia or hop on xCloud or whatever PlayStation offers and just be like, yeah, I'll hop in for a few. Which again, until we do it, I think it's hard to wrap your mind around. But overall with you, I don't want to play like core.
And I have the big iPhone and it's still too small.
Yeah, like overall with you, I don't want to raid in Division or Destiny on the phone. Like that's not for me. Even a tablet, unless it's running really fluidly at 60, but remains to be seen. Anyway, I'm excited for next gen. That's why I was really wanting to talk about this at the top of the show. Anything else to add on Scarlett or xCloud?
No way, man. We got lots more news to get through.
Lots of good stuff. I know. We went on that one for a big one. Hope you all like it.
26 minutes in.
I know, right. Barrett. Tell Fran to pick up the pace.
Let's talk about NPDs.
This stuff, the rest of the stuff just rolls off the tongue. NPD numbers are in. Nintendo is sweeping July, but Madden took the crown. This story comes way of games industry biz. And here's how the story goes. As its hardware continues to dominate the competition in a year waning console cycles, Nintendo has also scored a victory in July with 6 platform-exclusive titles in the top 10 best-selling games for the U.S. The NPD Group also reports that overall game spending in July reached $762 million, only a bit higher than July of last year, thanks to top-selling Madden NFL's movement into July, because it's usually in August, I believe, offsetting declines in all other segments. So interesting. July is up over last year, but actually only because Madden showed up instead of in August. So actually we'll see how August looks about a month from now. Hardware's decline was 22% year over year. So down 22% in terms of hardware sales to 169 million, with only the Nintendo Switch seeing gains, a trend that has been going on for months now that seems likely to continue through the end of the year as the PS4 and Xbox One wind down their release cycles. The Switch remains the best-selling hardware platform both for the month and year to date. Any commentary on where we're at with this so far, Andrea? It's a lot of info.
I think this is all like pretty predictable.
Yeah,
exactly. And something I think to keep in mind is that August numbers I think are not going to suffer, most in part because of Fire Emblem Three Houses, which had its best series debut here in the U.S. And of course, we still have Control coming at the end of the month from Remedy, which I'm excited to start playing. And then there's like several other releases that are happening
Monster
this
Hunter's
month
in
as well.
September, right? It was I think it was August last year, but it's in September this year. So yeah, actually the top 10, I'll just read them real fast and then maybe we can decide if we want to pull out some more of these stats. So top 10 was as follows. Madden NFL 20, followed by Fire Emblem Three Houses. Then Super Mario Maker 2 at 3. At number 4 was Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order. Coming in at 5, Minecraft. Coming in at 6, Grand Theft Auto 5.
Hanging in there, GTA.
Coming in at 7, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Coming in at 8, Mortal Kombat 11. Number 9 was Mario Kart 8. And at number 10, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Man, a lot of like strong, Nintendo showing in there. It's funny that when I saw Zelda, I was like, wow, what a powerful system seller and just like a must-have title. We don't see Super Mario Odyssey up here. We see Mario Kart and Zelda, right? So it's kind of interesting to see. I think what people are picking up when they're finally deciding to get a Switch, right? It's probably where this comes
or
from.
they got Odyssey when they bought their Switch, since that was a big holiday push when that game originally came out, and maybe they didn't get Zelda because it came out when the Switch launched.
But why summer all this? Like, why play it now all of a sudden?
I don't know. Maybe they were doing a discount.
The word's out, everybody. Zelda's good.
Didn't they release something semi-recently? Am I misremembering that?
What, like DLC or something?
Yeah.
No.
I feel like
They haven't.
there's just been such an ongoing discussion. Like, it's everybody's
It's one of the
favorite
greatest
game.
games of all time.
It is.
So, like, why not play it now?
It is. There's a big debate that's been going on Twitter. I think because IGN was talking about it. But like, what's the best Zelda? Is Breath of the Wild one of the best games of all time, or is it the best? You know, all the above. So. Anyway, back to the NPD stuff. Was there anything else in here that was like must know? I mean, yeah, software gains brought sales up to $340 million in July, which was up 34% year over year.
Worth noting.
Thanks to Madden again, though.
Matt Piscatella, friend of the show, tweeted yesterday that, or maybe it was this morning, we have a couple of titles approaching lifetime records. In the fighting game supergenre, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is quickly approaching Super Smash Bros. Brawl's spot as the best-selling fighting game of all time. I think that's really fascinating.
That is fascinating.
Because right now, Brawl is number 1, Ultimate is number 2, Mortal Kombat X, number 3, Original Super Smash Bros., number 4, Mortal Kombat 11, number 5.
Wow. Interesting that MK and Smash are so high up there. It's funny, some of the traditionalist fighting fans will probably make some arguments around it. But, I mean, meaning when Smash Brothers originally came out, people were quick to deem it not a fighter. And, it is. It's just such a different, unique style. There's really nothing else like it. So interesting to see that both that and MK have dominated. All right. I'd say we move on to the question. Andrew, you wanna bring this question up that you pulled?
Sure, Fran. So this comes from our friendly neighborhood nanobiologist. Hey, Frandrea, NPD numbers are out, and what's surprising is the Nintendo Switch seeing gains. Is that surprising? It's not surprising. With the Lite on the horizon and a new model of the current Switch released without any fanfare, I'm surprised that they are still going up. Wouldn't people be holding off on buying a current model if they knew the Switch Lite, a cheaper version, is coming out next month? Or am I just in a gaming bubble and have no idea what the Lite is actually not being advertised at all currently to keep the more expensive model sales up? Maybe the Switch, like the 3DS, will always be a hot seller because its price point and people clamoring to get their hands on one. Would love to hear what you guys think. I hope you both have a great weekend. You too, nanobiologist. I
so effectively just asking how is it still selling when we know
I haven't seen a major
coming?
push for Switch Lite. The thing that I expressed my concern about when they announced the improved version of the original model, in the all red box, was that this was going to happen, is that consumers wouldn't know which version to get if they don't have somebody explaining to them, oh, hey, by the way, Nintendo made improvements to the hardware. You're going to want to buy the new Switch, not the original Switch.
Yeah. I don't want the Lite anyway because the controllers don't come off.
I want a Lite just because
it's pretty and it's cool. And if I'm at the park, I'll be like, oh, who's that cool kid? Hey, cool kids. But one thing I was going to bring up here is a good way to think about it is, I know what you're getting at, Nano. You're like, yeah, like doesn't everybody know? Yes, you are in a informed gaming bubble. Most people who are buying this stuff are not nearly as informed as you. And I'm not saying that they're dull or anything around it. Like people read the news, but
they just don't watch Kind of Funny Games daily, and that's their loss.
You should tell them. But the point is, I was going to equate it to something like the iPhone, right? Like everything like this has a heartbeat, and that's what you see with NPD numbers. There's a heartbeat. It's not suddenly going to come way down just because there's a new model coming. In fact, until the new model's out, you won't really see the transition start to happen. Is normally what happens. So yeah, now that it's in stores now. Yeah.
Oh, look at this,
it's still not. What's the release date?
Let me double check this. Breaking news. Speaking of the
be
Switch.
Careful of those.
Switch Lite
is. Trust
I'm
Nano,
checking the.
Switch Lite is September 20th.
Oh yeah,
I think they're referencing.
That shows how.
They're referencing the slight update that the regular Switch got that's now in stores.
Yes, the new edition.
Yeah.
Right, that the battery is slightly improved is basically all that it is.
And apparently,
they changed the processor so the battery consumption's better is basically.
And apparently there's some differences with the screen.
Oh yeah, the screen's slightly different, right? Yeah. All right, Andrea is checking on some breaking news. Do we need to be quiet for this, Andrea?
Shh.
That's Andre.
Interesting. So
Andre Sagers.
What the breaking news supposedly is that allegedly Nintendo is upgrading old Switches to new ones for free if purchased after July 17th of this year.
What?
Wait, upgrading old Switches to the new version, the new model, which has some number that I don't remember.
Right. So if you bought a Switch on August 1st, for example, and you didn't realize that this new one just came out right now, like this week, I believe it launched. Kindoffunny.com/you were wrong. Let me know when the new Switch went on sale. You can reach out to Nintendo and they will refund you and give you the new one.
Yep. Yeah, I was just trying to search and see if any of this news was breaking, but there's not too much of it out there. So
I mean, this seems like the right thing to do. It's been 30 days, a little more than 30 days. From the date, so July 17th, you should be able to trade that in and get a new one. But also, it's like this is the thing that was confusing to me when they announced this. Like, obviously, we've seen improvements to hardware almost every console cycle, but they need to discount the original model to differentiate it from the new model.
Yep. Yeah, I do see.
Not that they want to. Of course, Nintendo doesn't like to discount anything that they sell. But I think that would be the right thing to do. Even if it's a small discount, if it's like $25 to $50 off to get the older version and then the newer version has the better battery life.
Yeah. Yeah, so here's what's interesting. I'm noticing on GameSpot that they just put something up a while ago, but that you can trade in at GameStop. So there are offers like this happening.
Yeah, it was a deal of the day that we talked about on Tuesday. Yeah, so they're doing a trade-in deal. If you take your current Switch and you trade it into GameStop, they'll give you, I believe, $225 worth of credit.
Yep.
So that allows you to purchase the new improved Switch for just $75.
Basically for $75. That's precisely it. The trade-in offer is valid until September 15th, according to what GameSpot.
So you got about a month.
Yeah, but so it's similar, meaning to kind of what's going on here. Maybe if Nintendo officially...
No, it's not. I mean, it's not similar. If you bought a brand new Switch in the last 30 days, then you can trade it in with no cost to you for the newer version. This is saying if I brought my launch Switch into GameStop and traded it in, I could then get the brand new Switch for $75 additional.
Yeah. All I meant by it is that having old Switch in your hands...
You were wrong, Fran.
I know, but what I was getting at is you now see, it seems like coming out of the world, they're trying to address that if you have an old Switch and you want this slight upgrade, how's it going to happen? But obviously consumer confusion if you bought one recently, and you find this at stores in general anyway. Sometimes you buy stuff and something goes on sales in 2 weeks. A lot of places, they'll just they'll be like, yeah, of course, bring it in and we'll just trade it out. So
sure.
Not totally surprising if that's happening. But okay, let's move on to our next story. Anthem producer is leaving. The lead producer is leaving BioWare after 8 years. Ben Irving, lead producer on Anthem, announced that he's leaving on Twitter, and here's what he said precisely. After 8 amazing years at BioWare, I have made the decision to move on and have accepted an exciting opportunity at another gaming company. Since the first time I played Baldur's Gate many, many years ago, BioWare was the dream place I always wanted to work. I will forever be grateful to all the people who gave me the chance to work on great products with amazing people. I believe Anthem has a bright future. There's a great team working on it, and I look forward to following its progress and playing it from the sidelines. I've really enjoyed interacting with the Anthem community, streams, Twitter, and Reddit through the good times and the tough times. So obviously there's still some folks on the community team that are there that he's pointing you to, Jesse and Andrew. But anyway, that was his note that he's basically leaving, and we know that he's been there for about eight years. What do you think this might mean, Andrea? Do you think he just got a sweet new offer? Do you think he got frustrated and left? Do you think he was being targeted and like, look, we just don't think some of the decisions you made or the way you're doing it is what led? I mean, what do you think? I mean, it's pure speculation, but...
I mean, I would prefer to not speculate on why anybody leaves a job because it could be for a variety of reasons. Maybe...
Yeah.
He wants to move to a different city.
Yeah,
Maybe he got a better job offer. Maybe he said, hey, 8 years is a long time to be at a single job. Maybe I'm looking to do something different.
Yeah, it could be family, partner, or whatever, yeah. Could be any number of things.
Honestly... I probably would not have put this in the Roper Report because we see single devs leaving all the time. But
yes, but it's got a little juice in there is all I'm saying, which is Anthem.
What's the juice?
Just that Anthem has been a big point of discussion. The lead producer, after 8 years, in his own words, is leaving the place that I always wanted to work. So again, like I agree with you. By the way, we can make a mountain out of a molehill here if we want. I'm not intending to do that.
You're trying to read between the lines. I'm
just trying to get people thinking about it.
What do you think, Fran?
I I think that it's probably like half and half. Like I think that wherever Anthem was at, and if that was still what he's supposed to be working on, that maybe he was getting frustrated. I mean, yeah, now I'm just pure speculation, but Anthem has gone through a lot. We know that it's not like it's Ben's fault or anything. There's a bunch of internal decisions and resources that has led to the state that it's in. But they actually just had a pretty good release of new content. It's not like a ton. It's free content, Cataclysm. We talked about it on Gamescast. But I think that because of that, my guess is he probably was looking around, and it probably was a rough process for him. And so again, I'm making up my part of the story. Like you said, he might be like, guys, I heard the show and it's family stuff. You know, that might be the story. It could be anything. But I do think potentially is all I'm saying. It could be Anthem had a very troubled launch, and lots been going on the last 6 to 8 months.
Yeah,
and,
I wouldn't blame.
He might have been
I
looking
wouldn't
around.
blame anybody on the BioWare team for leaving because of the way that Anthem rolled out, right?
Yeah, it's been tough. That's all I'm saying. I'm not even blaming people.
It's been hard, and not to mention like the
that.
frustration that they must be feeling internally, but also the sheer amount of harassment that the BioWare team has been getting over Anthem would make anybody want to quit that job.
It was Twitter's fault. That's why he's leaving. He's like, he can't handle being added anymore over Anthem. But
are you being facetious? Because people were really nasty.
I'm not. Okay, I'm saying he probably didn't leave just because of Twitter and harassment, but I was agreeing with you. There's a lot of that going on out there.
Yeah. Don't harass people.
I don't want to laugh at people getting harassed on Twitter if that's what you were worried about. Like, absolutely not. I mean, that's like the worst part of the internet, and actually it really affects a lot of people. We see people go dark on these platforms, and so it could be any number of these things. But actually, we've heard from Ben a lot. He seems like he's been great on the team, and we absolutely wish him best on his next endeavor. I'm excited to hear where he's going. You know, I don't want to imply that I'm like, oh yeah, well, whatever happened with Anthem, now you're out. He's been doing this a long time. Anthem, I was more of a defender of it, I would say, right? I gave it a 6.8 out of 10 when I reviewed it before Cataclysm, and I like the core of what it is. I think it's still got potential, and, Ben's had his hand in that, so can't wait to see what he does next, and hopefully we know more on that.
Fran, I feel like we should just speed through this next story because...
Oh, good. Why don't you?
Because we're getting pretty late in the show, and we have not gotten to anything beyond the Roper Report.
I agree with you. So why don't you take the wheel on this one?
Oh, good one. Good pass.
This is a hot show today. All right.
The final story. Need for Speed Heat won't have loot boxes from Alicia Judge over at IGN. The next game, the Need for Speed series, won't include loot boxes, according to EA community Ben Walker? Don't know how to say. He replied on Reddit saying there are no loot boxes in Need for Speed Heat, and there won't be. We plan to have post-launch paid DLC in the form of car packs. So I think that is just like the crux of this story, that the team came out and said, yo, we're not going to do it. Joey, I'm ready, girl. I am ready.
Wow,
did you see
Andrea wanted to speed through the story, and all of a sudden it's Friday, and Joey shows up with Chandon and a couple giant. Wow, that's how you guys drink your champagne.
Well, these are the only glasses we have.
It's true.
Why don't they have champagne glass here, Andrea? You've been a staple.
I've donated multiples.
Oh, they break
It's
them.
not my fault if they break.
Got to get the plastic ones.
Yeah, Kevin with the White Claw.
No, I don't. Come on. I can't have any, man.
Party!
Yeah.
Just set down the grapefruit, and it's amazing.
So just to cap this story, coming into the reveal of the things we agreed we would detail in the monetization options, no loot boxes, car packs, etc., no scapegoat here. I think after the really botched launch of the loot boxes in the last Need for Speed, this is the right call.
Yep.
EA clearly having learned a harsh... Ooh, yeah, girl. Having learned a harsh lesson, we're seeing now that they are swinging in the other direction and saying, you know what, we want to fix it, we want to correct it. I'm personally excited for whatever is coming for Need for Speed. I hope that this could be a comeback game for them.
I really like Need for Speed.
I love that franchise, and I think that there's some really great games in it, but they've really been misstepping with the last couple of entries, and so I'd like to see them get back. I enjoyed the trailer they put out earlier this week. It had a very Fast and Furious vibe, and if you look at the gameplay at the back half of that trailer, it looks pretty good. The gameplay looks nice, but we have to see it live in action first.
Yep.
So
before we move on, I think to the release dates and all that other stuff, why don't we get a little toast up here? You guys, yeah. Well, I'm not gonna open it right now. I just can't. Man, I can't have alcohol at this time in the morning, guys. I'm sorry.
How about before we pop our claws, we talk about our fantastic sponsors for this episode, since we are 50 minutes in
That's what I was thinking.
And
if
then
you guys
we will
want to
pop
cheers
our
them.
claws.
Okay, we're going to wait to do it after that. That sounds good.
Yeah. Just trying to like keep a semblance of business before we go completely off the rails. Because I'm ready.
I didn't know you were going to go off the rails.
I brought these supplies to go off the rails, so I'm ready.
Then let's take this brief moment to thank our sponsors, and we'll come back to release dates and cheers and much after that. Our first sponsor is Quip. If you don't know by now, Quip is the easiest way to ease back into a routine. Start it up before September, especially if you're headed back to school. Simplify the morning and evenings now with a simpler electric toothbrush from Quip. Timed sonic vibrations cover the basics over every part of your mouth and just take 2 minutes twice a day. The mirror mount puts brushing front and center in your bathroom, so you'll remember to bookend the day using your new toothbrush. And the lightweight, compact design means you can bring it along with you on those last summer weekend getaways. So enjoy sleeping in and then ease back into the swing of things with a smile. Quip has a built-in 2-minute timer that pulses every 30 seconds to remind you when to switch sides and to help you to clean your mouth evenly. Up to 90% of us don't brush for a full 2 minutes or don't clean evenly. 75% of us use old, worn-out bristles that are ineffective. Guilty as charged. I've done that before. Quip heads are automatically delivered on a dentist-recommended schedule every 3 months for just $5. A friendly reminder when it's time for a refresh and to stay committed to your oral health. Quip is one of the first electric toothbrushes accepted by the American Dental Association. They're backed by over 25,000 dental professionals, and they have thousands of verified 5-star reviews. Kind of funny, loves Quip. We know Greg uses it. He's got it on the road with him right now. Tim uses it, got it on the road with him right now. He's out there cleaning evenly. And even Joey Noel uses it, and it's helping us all be better at brushing. Andrew's looking at me. Still good?
Yeah, we're good.
Quip starts at just $25, and if you go to getquip.com/games, that's getquip.com/games, GAMES, you can get your first refill pack for free. So head over there and get your first refill pack for free. Our next sponsor is Experian. You know, the better your credit score, the easier it is to get the stuff that you want or the less you have to pay. So the question is, why is it so hard to raise your score? Now, it won't be thanks to Experian. They've launched Experian Boost, a brand new way to instantly increase your credit score for free. A higher credit score can help you establish and get access to credit preferred rates for the things you want and need in life. Experian is on a mission to help boost America's credit score, which will help millions of people across the country build and get better access to credit. People all across America have already raised their credit scores with Experian Boost, and you should too. For the first time ever, paying your utilities and cell phone can instantly improve your credit score. Experian Boost works by giving you credit for your bills you're already paying through your bank, like water, gas, electric, cable, and cell phone. It used to take months to see your credit score rise a point or two. With Boost, you can increase your credit scores instantly. Boost is free to use and only available from Experian. Up until now, you've been paying your utility and cell phone bills and not getting any credit for it. Now you can. Look, credit, I always recommend to people, early on in life, you often don't think about this stuff, and now Experian Boost is, making it even easier. But everything from going to Best Buy and getting that sweet new TV you want, it's more than just buying the car and the house that you want in the long term, right? So
yeah, rental applications for apartments, all kinds of things. As someone who's going through the mortgage process right now, you have to build your credit for many, many years to get a lender interested in you to lend you money to buy something like a house. And so taking these little steps, like what Experian Boost offers, is something I wish was available to me when I was younger. So I could have started this path much earlier and not had to jump through all the hoops I did to have to get my credit to where it is today.
So things have changed, and we can't believe that it's taken this long for somebody to do it. So what are you waiting for? Experian Boost can potentially help you establish or increase your access to credit. Boost your FICO score instantly for free. Boost is only available on Experian.com/KFGames. That's Experian.com/KFGames. EXPERIAN and then KFGAMES. All right. Now it's time to cheers and pop the tops. Well, you already popped the top. Kevin already popped his top.
What? Pop your claws?
If I don't drink it all, is that a problem?
Oh, Friday.
Okay. See, I hate the waste.
Yay.
Wait, I have no nails. I can't get mine open.
Do you want me to help you?
Yeah, wait, I want to pop it. God dang it, Kevin.
You said
I just needed a little nudge, man.
Yay.
Cheers, everybody.
Hey. What are we celebrating?
Claws out.
It's Friday.
Fuck yeah!
It's Friday.
Kevin, we had a clean show till you had to drop an F-bomb. You get one sip in you.
Listen.
I know that's not a thing here.
Kind of funny's never a clean
I
show.
know.
Let's just
The
get
F
that
doesn't
straight.
stand for funny. All right, let's get on and go back
today,
to
Fran.
Yeah, wait, we gotta go. But
Wait,
Xbox.
Real quick.
God dang, this show is just burn it. Burn it.
Did you
Now
think
that I'm back.
you were gonna open that up, drink a little bit, and then we were gonna give you shit because you didn't finish it?
No, I just hate wasting stuff. I don't really care what you think of me.
Oh well, then don't waste it then. You know what I mean? Don't
Real
waste
talk.
Nice try. Love you all. It's a happy Friday here at Kind of Funny. I didn't know. It's like I think it's the weather and just like it
It's the end of summer, Fran. We gotta milk every last drop out of
should.
this summer.
The weather is beautiful here, although it is hot, and also we haven't gone into what I call the Q4 crush. But it's going to be crazy once you roll into PAX and Gamescom's next week, like starting middle of the week. There's a lot coming, a lot of big games. So at that point, we won't drink on Fridays. We'll drink every day.
Yeah.
So that's how that'll work.
All right.
That's true.
But Xbox Scarlett is so far away. If I wanted to know what is coming to mom and grop shops, Andrea, where would I look?
Why, Fran, you would go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show host each and every weekday.
No.
I don't know the jingle, but I thought that was pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Wasn't
That's
bad.
fun.
All right, so out today, not a ton. This is the shortest list I think I've ever seen on the show. 3
beautiful.
games. Aratana and the Twin Masks on Xbox One. Frandrea HD Collection is coming to Nintendo Switch. And Escape from Earth is headed to PC. We've got one new date. You want to give me that one, Andrea?
Yeah, CI Games announced that Sniper Ghost Warrior contracts will be available everywhere with a global release date of November 22nd, 2019 for PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Gotcha. So I think the deal of the day was like look into this Nintendo trade-in stuff still. It's Nintendo Switch trade-in stuff. But if there's any other deals of the day that we find before the end of the show, Andrea, let me know. We were talking about it earlier. I didn't know if we sorted anything out.
So the thing I would like to start here with, Fran, if that's
Reader
okay.
mail?
Yes, if that's okay with
Let's
you.
go. Let's get into reader mail,
Is
everybody.
from BJ
Well, wait,
Bernardo.
before we start with them, though, I just
Yes.
want to remind people, you can write in. See, she knows that everybody already knows this, but I do want to remind new listeners, or if you haven't done it yet, would love to see your stuff in there. In fact, there's always a lot of opportunity to get your stuff read on reader mail. So head over to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Of course, again, you can get the show ad free, but you can also like get your reader mail in there.
Oh boy, if this is your first episode, what a doozy. I'm sorry.
It's a great time to jump in, you know?
Not our best work, but maybe some of our most
I think
fun
it
work.
could be. Frandrea is always awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andrea.
All right, so BJ writes in and says, since you're announcing your Kind of Funny end date, which I'll do right after this.
What?
With all that free time not hosting Kind of Funny Games Daily, can you talk about what you will do in LA? Will you look for a job like KFGD, a part-time hosting, or are you looking for something more full-time? Or whatever, you're not concerned because you're Andrea Rene, bitch! Keep gold glitter falling from the ceiling.
Andrea effing Rene. Gold glitter falling from the ceiling.
Good luck, and we'll miss you until we decide as a community that you're dead to us, BJ.
Wow, what's your response to that?
So, first, yesterday on the show with Barrett, I said I would announce my final show. My final show will be Wednesday, September 11th.
Okay, so it's about a week after PAX-ish.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I am moving the next day, and then I'm going to set up the new What's Good studio down in Los Angeles. But I'm planning to come back, of course, and guest whenever, you guys
If
will
they'll
let
have
me.
you back,
Well, I'll
you
just
know?
force my way onto the set, let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
And so that's going to be my final show, and I'm going to be hosting KFGD all 3 days, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I believe Gary and I are doing a show that week.
Yeah,
I have to double check the schedule with Greg.
I think it's that Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've swapped so that Greg and I are
On the last episode.
doing the last episode. Yeah. So that's the final date. So now you guys have it. I'll be back around for like another 3 to 4 weeks. So
26 days we have left with Andrea, which is it sounds like a lot when you put it in those terms. So we've still got plenty of time. Let's enjoy and savor the time that we have left with Andrea. That's really why we're drinking. We're gonna miss you, Andrea. Now I'm gonna give you the cheers and definitely take a sip.
Yeah.
Never cheers someone if you don't know, and don't take a sip or look back at them. Like that's the European way, and just like the polite way.
Well,
right?
if you want to do the true European way, you gotta like hit your glass on the table
right?
first,
oh, you do,
and
then
you drink.
I don't know what countries that's in, though. I wonder.
Germany. You've been with us in Germany.
Is that really the German thing, though?
That we do it every time we've gone to Germany.
You
feels
let us know
Russian
where that
or like.
from. So what I want to. Answer your question here, BJ. What I'm going to do in LA.
What are you going to do down there, Andrea?
So I'm having some conversations with some folks. I'm kind of weighing my options. I mean, my primary objective once I get there is to make sure the What's Good studio gets set up, and then once that project is done, I'll be able to start looking for more work. But if you guys watch What's Good Games, which by the way we've got a brand new episode out this morning, you probably have heard me talk about What's Good Wine and
what.
I've been noodling on this for quite some time. And I think now that I'm going to be going to Los Angeles, I am going to have a little bit more free time. I think now is the time for me to set those plans for What's Good Wine into motion.
Maybe get some wine merch, some wine brand. That would be amazing. I think Andrea knows her wine. She knows her champagne, that's for sure. But I'd love to see something like that. But also, I think it's worth clarifying, like, because someone said it to me on Twitter today too. I was like, I just put up my tired SpongeBob gif, which I so often do. I was just tired, and someone's like, "What? You work at Kind of Funny Games? Party all day?" And I was like, by the way, yesterday I was at Namco Bandai. They did a rad stream with the Double Fine team, but I actually just ran the production for that. That's my other side or main hustle, really. So in other words, you don't just do Kind of Funny.
No.
Like, you have What's Good as one of your main things. You also get hired and go all over the globe.
They call me the busiest lady in the business for a reason,
right.
Fran.
And it's not just here. And so, meaning you're already doing a bunch of stuff. But LA opens up more opportunity. And so I think that's what I hear out of that is you're already doing the stuff you usually do. We won't see on the show as much here.
True.
But love to have you back. And that goes for me too, right? I'm just a freelancer. I work for Barrett. So that's just how it works.
Why would you publicly
A year ago,
admit
we
that?
were both at IGN, Fran, and now the tables have turned.
That's right. For those who don't know that
Evil laughs.
through many managers, I hired Barrett. But Barrett used to work for me, and now I work for him. That's just how the world goes. You never know.
Well, I worked for Destin, who works for you. So
yeah, I mean, meaning I interviewed you when you came in, and you didn't work for me. I never interviewed you?
No.
That's actually rare.
Yeah, I had only one interview, and it was Destin Legary, Mark Medina, and Pat Coughlin.
Wow.
And that was terrifying because, Destin and Pat Coughlin, stone cold faces.
Yeah.
And so I thought I had totally fucked up that interview.
I'm surprised I didn't interview. That's actually a great failure on my part. Like, meaning Destin had it handled. I wasn't worried.
But that was like me doing part-time stuff.
Yeah.
So you were the one who told me I was being brought on to full-time, though.
Yeah.
Which
Pulled you into the back room.
1 year ago today, I saw.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow. You were full-time at IGN, and now here you are today.
And now I'm your boss!
Point is, for the new listeners and those you don't know, Andrea and I are freelancers, but we're also part of the Kind of Funny family. And the family is bigger than the company. And the best friends are ultimately the best friends. That's bigger than everything. So,
Fran, no one's your boss.
That's, really, Kevin?
Yeah.
All right. I like that.
Andrea, no one's your boss.
Wow, the liquor's really
miss
getting
you
in.
so much.
Oh, I know.
I'm
gonna miss you too, Kevin.
Fran, if you ever fucking leave me, I swear to God. I swear to God, Francis.
Don't leave me. All right.
Michael's not cool.
We're running a little over. Our next show today
Go
is...
as long as you want.
You doing Screencast today?
We'll see.
Kevin is up
I got
next
pages here.
on Screencast with a White Claw in hand. You're going to want to stick around for it, but we should kind of finish things up.
How about you just pick one more question, and then we'll call it?
Okay, we're going to do one more, and then we got to get out of here so Kevin can talk about...
Don't ever feel rushed by us.
What's the biggest topic on Screencast today?
A movie called The Peanut Butter Falcon might be one of the best movies of this year.
The PBF. All right, we're going to talk about that.
The
next.
Peanut Butter Falcon.
With Shia LaBeouf.
With Shia LaBeouf.
Oh,
Mr.
okay.
LaBeouf, as Nick likes to say.
Interesting. You talking about that Wheel of Time news? You talking about that Wheel of Time casting news?
No.
Some nerd shit right there.
Exactly.
I want to wait till the trailer comes out. I don't want to like same thing with there's one other.
Save it for Screencast.
Yeah, we still got to...
Dune?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Dune because I don't want to people be like, oh, they always talk about Dune. When we have something solid to talk about, I know casting seems important, but it's not important.
What?
Casting the
so
leads is
important.
kind of important. But that's
once,
all right.
once
You
we
never
get a
know till
trailer,
you see them,
yeah,
obviously.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, let's finish things up here. We still got to go through a little bit of kind of funny or wrong. We got to do squad up, and we're going to do one
Drink a
more
little
question
White
here.
Claw. Just have a little sip of
It's
that bad boy.
Friday. You want a little sippy sip?
There it is. There it is. Yeah, let it in your blood.
Ah, that was gross. That was
Some
a gross
ASMR for you
sip.
guys. I know.
No, it
Some
wasn't.
people just threw. I'm
No.
sorry. If you just put your headphones back on, I'm really sorry.
That was not that.
He's not sorry.
I'm a fan of ASMR, and just sometimes it's the bad stuff.
That
Did you
sounded
see
like
the-
someone peeing.
Did you did you see those Apple ads, by the way?
No.
Oh my God! A different topic. I don't want to get. If y'all don't know, if you ever want to just like break me down, no, please don't do this here. Bring in cardboard and the styrofoam. And first of all, cardboard scraping on cardboard, styrofoam in a box. I literally can't open the box or pull the stuff out of the box. I just
Really?
like go like limp. I'm like, yeah.
I had a friend once who
Just so
had that
weird.
thing with cotton balls. She couldn't pull cotton balls apart.
What? It doesn't even make a
Like
noise.
she like if she touched them and she pulled she couldn't handle it.
But anyway, just that sound. But if you haven't checked it out, Apple put up some long form ASMR, and it's like scraping wood with like the metal shaver, but like, oh, it's awful. And whatever, it is a great viral campaign. If you want your ears to just melt off, then go listen to that. All right, since it's Friday, since it's Frandrea, I actually want to take this Destiny question, Andrea, because
Do it.
I mean, when do we ever
it.
talk about Destiny? Coming in
We talked about it yesterday.
That's the joke. David Scott is asking, what's good, Frandrea? As somebody who hasn't touched Destiny since the launch week of Destiny 1, I wanted to ask you guys what the biggest changes and improvements have been over the years. I really want to get back into it, especially with cross saves coming. That's actually August 21st, I believe, so right around the corner. So he really wants to get back into it with cross saves coming, but he needs some convincing. How would we sales pitch him on Destiny 2 in its current state to somebody who's fallen off the wagon? Andrea, what would you say?
I would say if you're looking for a way to connect with a community and have a place to play with people that enrich your life, then you should look at Destiny as a potential platform for that. To me, Destiny isn't about the gameplay, even though I keep going back because the gameplay is so good and what Bungie has created entices me to want to play over and over again, but I keep playing Destiny because of the What's Good Guardians and because of the people that I play with every week, because those moments of camaraderie brighten my week and make my life better.
Yep. Yeah, the friend game is strong. Is an amazing community of players. So absolutely well said there. What I would comment on more on, the gameplay side is that you mentioned playing Destiny 1 the launch week. And I just can't stress to you how much the game has changed. And I'm sure part of you feels like the game has gotten away from you, but part of it is I don't want to go back to whatever that grind was. They admitted, that is like, it's just so 0.1. It's not even 1.0. It's like 0.1 at where the game is today. There was a lot of just floating around, empty environments. Everything is so filled with things to do and things to chase. So just think of it in terms of like a number. Yeah, like if it was like there was only 10 things to do in Destiny 1 launch week, there's like thousands of things to do now. So it's a huge difference, and a lot of it's tons of fun. There's been a ton of evolution. Cool looking gear. It just, honestly, there's so much to do that it's overwhelming, and that's a really nice place to be.
It is. I think about my pursuits tab where all my quests are stored, and I've had 2 of my 3 pages filled since Destiny 2 launched. And since Forsaken came out as well, like there's just so many different types of quests that you can chase if you want to or don't. Like there's some exotic quests, for example, for specific types of gear that I'm just like, you know what? I'm not really interested in that gear, so I'm not going to chase it, but it's there if you want to. And what I really also love about what Bungie has done with the lore in Destiny is they've kind of like trickled these breadcrumbs around the world in a really enticing way and incentivize the community to work together to solve some of these mysteries and these puzzles and to really create a fandom around the lore of the world and the universe that is Destiny. And I'm super excited for what they're bringing for Shadowkeep. I mean, not gonna lie, my gut reaction when we were going back to the moon was, oh man, the moon, we've already been there.
Excited.
I want to go somewhere new. But that being said, the more I've played and the more I've kind of dug back into the lore, because I do have the Grimoire book, that I'm like, you know what? There's definitely a lot of stuff that they've teased about the moon that we never discovered and never got to learn about. And so I'm excited.
It's quite
for
a bit
more.
larger, a lot of new stuff. And yeah, to end on this by saying, look, first of all, hop in and play the free version. Wait until October 1st when it comes out. So wait until New Light comes out. You can hop in and do that for free. If you're a little worried, just give it a taste. But what I would recommend you do actually is pick up the Forsaken pack, whatever it is at that time. You'll have to buy it in addition to the free version. Just give Forsaken a try. And honestly, that was the turning point lately in Destiny 2 in particular. Now, you missed a bunch in Destiny 1, but that alone, really nice production value, really cool. This Dreaming City, a lot to do. But that would lead you right into Shadowkeep really quickly. And remember, you can compartmentalize. You can jump straight into Shadowkeep if you want. So I would recommend checking that out. All right. So also in Destiny 2 is a squad up coming in from JuanMalvaes. I don't think we did this one yet. Hopefully not. It wasn't on yesterday, right?
Nope.
So JuanMalvaes. So the way you spell this is on BattleNet. Juan, Juan. Then Malvaes is Malvaes. We'll put it in the description, Barrett, or comments?
Well, I think from what I see, I think their screen name is the Inferno player.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Player.
And actually, Juan, you know what? You might want to Juan, if you're out there listening, you should leave a comment because it looks like you're missing the number. And BattleNet normally has a number attached. So the player name, though, just in case this works, and you can search for it, and there's only one, is Inferno player, but that's INFRNO. INFRNO_player. But again, Juan, if you're out there, leave a mention in the comments, and there's usually a number attached to that. So he just said he's been getting back into Destiny 2 for the last 2 months, hit 750 about 2 weeks ago, and is looking to do the legendary quests. So that's for the Whisper, Exotic, and Drifter stuff. So there you go. All right, on to your wrong, and then we got to wrap things up because we got screencasts around the corner with Kevin and team. Andrea, have you had a chance to poke in here yet? No.
And you're wrong? Yes, I'm literally in there
that's
right
what I was gonna
now
say. Otherwise,
going through some things. So the first one would be, we had asked when did the new Nintendo Switch revision come out, and it appears that there's not a firm release date, that it started rolling out mid-August. And several of you, Lord of Porn. That's not what I meant to say.
Lord of Porn.
Lord of Porn.
Porn.
Let's face it, Lord of Porn is the Lord of Porn too.
And the Nano Biologist and Il Grill Chill all wrote in about that.
But they say that it came out last week in some cases. So, yeah, sorry, like
it was weird. Like it started popping up at like GameStops.
Sounds like they're just starting to ship it because it's
Amazon released it like the next day.
Yeah, it's a replacement SKU, so I think it's just rolling into stores, but it has started to roll out. We know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we missed some new dates. Well, but it's not August 20th, so Nano Biologist.
That's not a new date. That release date for Rad has been announced.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be talking about it on What's Good Games next week.
I just did the live stream again for them yesterday with Rocco from Mega 64 and the Double Fine lead producer and some directors, artists were down there. It was a cool stream. Check it out on their Twitch Bandai Namco channel.
And a couple of you wrote in as a deal of the day that the PlayStation Classic is currently just $20 on Amazon.
$20 too much, am I right?
Wow. Barrett with the hot take.
Barrett, not a fan of Il Grill Chill's
Let me see here. I pulled up my Amazon account. I'm trying to see PlayStation Classic. I see one for $50. Is this a Wario 64 affiliate link? I don't see one for $20. I need proof. Send me a link.
Well, it came up twice, so I believe it.
I don't. I literally just searched for it on Amazon and couldn't find it.
Can't find it? All right, well.
So
yeah, I'm not seeing a Wario 64.
I think that's it. Everything else is a lot of just like updated comments and stuff. So
I do have a link for the PlayStation Classic.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, from Wario 64.
So make sure you guys go over to @Wario64 on Twitter. We always want to give him credit where credit is due. He does use affiliate links. Those help him. So please, if you are going to take advantage of this deal, click on his link in his Twitter feed.
That is the business. All right, so we got to wrap up the show next Monday, though. And Barrett, I don't know if you have more to add to this, but we are going to be looking at the live Stadia Connect that is happening. I believe it's coming out of Germany, right?
Yep.
So that's at 9:30 to 10 a.m. Yeah, 10 a.m.
No, it's at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Pacific time. So more Stadia Connect news, and it's going to be me and Barrett with Greg and Tim. It's going to be a fun show.
So I added it into the thing. So Monday, live Stadia Connect Reacts with you and me at 10 a.m. Greg and Tim are going to be kind of touching down around that
so
time.
Hopefully the post show.
So they will be joining us for the Gamescom live Reacts segment after the Stadia Reacts.
Jeez, no one invited me to come to any of these things.
They're just on.
Thanks, guys. I thought we were family. We just talked about it.
You're leaving us, Andrea, okay?
Yeah.
And then after the
over.
Gamescom live Reacts, there will be a Games Daily with Greg and Tim afterwards.
Assuming they show up.
So Monday's a little weird because we're doing live reacts to things and then Games Daily, so there won't be any live We Have Cool Friends, but We Have Cool Friends will be live on youtube.com/kindafunny Monday morning at some point.
Oh, well,
Got it.
there you go.
Thank you.
It's going to be a big day on Monday, I guess.
Yep.
Also, if you haven't checked out...
Kevin ran in.
Kevin, we
Will
okay,
there
buddy?
be White Claw Monday morning?
No.
Fuck no, we're finishing it today.
Save it for your show that's coming. All right, if you haven't, if you're not a Patreon, you can't check out our Gamescast yet, but that will be out on Monday as well. But Andrea, myself, Tim, Greg, what we talk about? Borderlands 3, the redacted. The embargoed game is like fine now. What was that?
Astral Chain.
Astral Chain. Tim talked about that, so you can tune in and hear more about that. But you got to play Borderlands. I played Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. It was a really good show, so be sure to check that out.
It's a fun one, this episode of the Gamescast. So if you want to view it early, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames.
Yep. Otherwise, head over to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames on Monday. I think super early in the morning is when it goes up. So I don't think I missed anything. Andrew, I hope we get a Frandrea in before you take off. If not, like we said, I know we'll just do one after, but we'll make it happen.
Right, I think.
I'm sure. We have 26 days left, which is plenty of time. So we're going to miss you, but I'm not saying goodbyes yet because, like I said, it's almost a month away.
It's true.
But it's been a pleasure, as always, best friends, and a pleasure. Andrea, thanks for joining Frandrea Friday, and we'll catch you all very soon.